quiet on the set, please.
All quiet on the set.
You are now rocking with the best.
Let's all welcome Mr. John the Censored Citizen Niems.
God damn, what am I paying you for, man? John Niems here. Now let's get to it. Dirty Turds, not to be confused with the 33rds. Our intro comes from my guest today, Dr. Richard Holden. Wow, the helly weird Satanists are moving out of the closet. They have some explaining to do. The child abuse raising of sexually backwards children is going to take a while. The practice cannot continue, cannot be selected for and given priority over ordinary people. Discrimination in the workplace is against the law. Flipping the sex of a child is abhorrent. Wikipedia has been designed to present people as the wrong sex. Now the narrative is being controlled as if it makes sense. There is not so far as a complete explanation of Satanism, and the satanic transgender agenda is still not being talked about. They want to slide the criminal slime into view as a happy event. Bullshit, Dr. Richard Holden says, and that's what I say too. Now here's a song about women, real women. I wrote it in 1992. It's called The Touch of a Woman.
The touch of a woman cannot be compared. She has the answers when life seems unfair. She can take your feelings beyond ultimate pleasure. The touch of a woman there is no measure of a touch of a woman can make a man weak. There is no resistance to a woman's mystique. The touch of a woman makes you feel renewed. She can give you something, I am telling you, that makes all your senses go beyond the pleasure. Her sensual manner there is no measure for the touch of a woman is hard to resist. When you go without it, you can barely exist. She can take you higher to that higher ground. The touch of a woman can be so profound. The touch of a woman can make a man weak. There is no resistance to a woman's mystique. She can take you higher to that higher ground. The touch of a woman can be so profound.
That song is for all the heterosexuals out there. This is the LGBT. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of saying those letters together. Anyway, that's for all of us that are still liking men and women together as how it's supposed to be. Real men and real women. Anyway, that song I still like. There's the woman in that song. I told her to pretend she was in the shower when she was singing all the sexy stuff, and it worked. She was very sexy. I forget her name off the top of my head, but she was great. And my guest today is great. He's my good friend, Dr. Richard Holden. We've known each other now almost about a year, I think, now, Richard, hasn't it? Richard, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I think so. Almost there, I think.
Right. So it's been about a year. So this is like our anniversary of when we met. I got you on my show. How's that for you? But
Yeah.
But we know that there's all kinds of things going on. The 2020, if you want to say, has been a year of surprises and not surprises, because a lot of the stuff we could have predicted they were going to do something really weird to us soon. But it's just everything is upside down right now. When you say that's the best way to describe this world we live in?
Exactly backwards, I think.
Yeah, backwards and upside down, and we're not supposed to question anything that the authorities tell us, and everything the authorities tell us is a lie.
Our biggest health concern is trying to believe the health department.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. COVID-19. Hey, I wanted to answer a question. I had a question about tuning the pianos to 432. Was in the chat room, and I still tune the A440 because everybody still plays the A440 when I do concerts and all that. I did a concert. I'm tuning for a concert this week. An Italian woman in Vegas who's doing a live virtual. All concerts are being virtual now. And I tuned it to 440. I tuned all the concerts in the last many years to 440 in Vegas here. I do a lot of concerts. So until they tell me to go to 432, I might as well just keep tuning to what everyone goes with. But I have tuned some pianos to 432. And anyway, that I just wanted to answer that. Somebody asked a question about that. But anyway, Richard, I'm going to go back. Let's start when we first met and what started waking you up, and in all of our conversations that we've had, we've talked about just about everything that you can think of. But in the last 3 or 4 years, you've been doing so much research on transgenders, and so I guess start where that's got you interested in that. When did you start looking at that?
Well, I think that Michelle Obama is the beginning of pretty much everybody. There were probably people that were before that, but it got really hard to look the other way when you knew that Michael Robinson had played football, and then he changed everything up and become the woman we see. And so that was such an odd thing, and it began at least paying attention to other people that were commenting on that, and the early history of transvestigation includes people that are kind of hard to find right now, but I think the first one might have been out of Australia. Jungle Surfer was that person's name, and he was saying outrageous things and getting away with it. And so that kind of made it so that somebody else shows up, Apostle Laurel Lee, out of Pennsylvania or Massachusetts on the East Coast somewhere. Apostle Laurel Lee, people pretty much wrote her off as crazy. And yet looking back, I don't think she was crazy. But the first transvestigation people took a tremendous hit. And I wasn't brave enough to jump in the foreground at that point and start talking about something as bizarre as a matrix being actually backwards, where the cute ladies in Hollywood are men, and of course, whenever you tell anybody that, they have dim view of what you're talking about, because pretty much everybody wants to keep their viewpoint,
Right.
and that viewpoint is really hard to keep going. As soon as you start researching transvestigation and you really take a close look at the anatomy, the difference between men and women. I mean, I've been around women and men, and I thought I knew the anatomy, but I tell you, they have very specific differences, and you can hide them and surgicate them and camouflage them and all kinds of stuff, but it still stays there. And so once you really start looking at the differences, you find out that there's a heck of a lot of them, and that even though one can be a marker that kind of looks like it's ordinary male marker on a woman, that'll be the only one maybe she has, or maybe two that confuse you for a minute. But then you look at the rest of the markers, and you pretty much everybody around you, especially here in Iowa, are easily transvestigated. I mean, you can't miss it. They're so obviously male and female, but as soon as you look at the TV, you can't go by that anymore.
Right. Especially
you have to really stop doing that.
Especially actresses that are always shot with their bikinis on, out in the middle of the the water, standing, and none of them have hips. I mean, it's like,
well, you realize that the photographers, the Hollywood photographers, have to be onto it, because they all shoot to try and keep you convinced that person is the sex they claim.
Right.
And then the makeup artists, they all have to be in on it, and the producers, the directors, the fellow artists, the fellow actors, everybody's in on it.
Right.
And
It
so
goes
you're the
a
only
lot
one left
further.
out, really.
Right. Well, when I started looking at it way back, Serena Williams and Venus Williams, I started looking at the videos on the Williams sisters, and I remember one of the first videos I ever saw way back then too was there was a video of women tennis players in the early 1900s, and that one really shook me because they all had these long dresses on. And they sure all look like men to me in a dress, every one of them. So I think that
they were.
I think women tennis players was to me an eye opener, as well as Michelle Obama, Michael Robinson, but Sheena and Venus Williams, and then I started one of the best, and is Mr. E. His videos, he's been taken down so many times, but he was one of the best that really started getting people. He did those long videos showing how the surgeries are done, how, remember how detailed he'd get, and really started to open up my mind on that too. And then you started seeing actresses that you thought were beautiful women. One of the first that I watched was Jennifer Aniston. She was one of the first that people brought up all the time. And if you brought her up, most people would just want to slap you in the face. But she's had many videos done about her, and you start naming names, and I gotta to start naming names right now, people will take us down right away, but their videos have been out there for a long time.
Basically, there's so many people involved that you have to start seeing it as a group effort. And who is this group? The individuals are part of a large group of devil believers,
satanic.
They actually think that the Baphomet goat god is the god of illumination, that you cannot get illuminated until you basically sell out. And so parents sell out their children as they're even conceived, and then they raise them backwards. Let's say they might even adopt half a dozen kids. And if they've got tons of money, they just start flipping them and raising them the wrong sex and walking them around town and getting away with it.
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
We see tons of evidence that the kids that were in the Disney Corporation, Annette Funicello. I mean, she was one of my favorites.
Right.
So basically, you never get a thumbs up or a thumbs down as far as this marker thing and knowing what has happened to these people, but you just always become more and more suspicious that that person can't have all those markers wrong. Right?
Yeah, you start going down the rabbit hole with this, and I've had a lot of people from a lot of different truth movements. This is actually more than flat Earth. Get mad at me for looking at this. And when I wrote my song "Man's a Woman, Woman's a Man," I only did it because I had watched so many videos that I felt I got to do this song now because no one. Again, it comes for me. It comes to no one else going to write the song other than me. I know that. I look in the mirror and I say, "Who's going to write a song about the 6 million mantra?" I look in the mirror. Nobody. Who's going to write the song about so many 9/11 things? Nobody. And when I looked in the mirror and said, "Oh God, I got to write man's a woman, woman's a man," and when you start to see all the videos, like with Flat Earth, and this probably, I'm sure Richard, this was you too. You start, and now you can't find good Flat Earth videos. You have to really know where to look. They've taken so many down, and that's what they do with this transgender agenda. But I went for probably a half a year to a year where I was only watching transgender videos because I was just amazed at how many were made, and now it's harder to find. Most of the good channels, as you will agree, have been taken down. They go to BitChute. Yeah, where do all good videos go? BitChute. That's where all mine are. That so far, by the way, I haven't been knock on wood. I haven't been taken down here on this on my new videos now.
Lucking out.
Yeah, but you just start to see it, and the names will tell you. George Clooney's wife's name is Amal, and I look at it as a male. They tell you a lot of times. A lot of times they end with a man in the name. So there's things that then you want to go find a video on it, and sure enough, you find out there's so many markers, like you say, that make you go, "Hey, there's something up with this."
The biggest markers that somebody that hasn't really started working on this and don't even know why they might want to start working on it, the biggest thing to start paying attention to is arm length. My hands touch the middle of my thighs, and the crotch line as where it interacts with the arm. It's mostly in the palm or just south of the wrist on a woman, and on a man, you got another whole hunk of arm hanging down, banging on your thigh, and so that line hits you way high in your forearm. So I always just start with arm length, trying to figure out what that arm is doing, because on a man, we have a really long humerus, and a woman has a short humerus where her elbow is right at her very high waist, at the very underneath of her little teeny chest, right? And so you just get used to watching that humerus and where that elbow hits the torso, and if it hits it really high, above the belly button, you're going, well, how can that elbow hit you so high? And if it's a woman, of course, you're talking about where they put the waistband on a dress, and so that's obvious to a dressmaker, but to us ignorant people out here that don't pay attention to lines like that, that elbow, the point of the elbow on a man is just above the waist, which is just above their pelvis. And so you have about a 6-inch gap there where many of these models, they're called models because they're designed, they're the new model. And their torso, if they're a woman on the catwalk, their torso is so odd because it's so low.
Right.
And the elbow points are so low, and they'll camouflage as much as they can. They'll try and keep their arms from hanging down to their sides.
They always cross their legs when they do the standing pictures. They always have their legs crossed. That's the tip off people should realize. their legs are crossed, and they always try to turn a little to make it look like the hips are bigger, wider than they are, and it's just a way to do that. But if you look at it carefully, if you know what to look for, you'll see the legs don't add up in terms of what a woman's leg should be or what a man's. And now it's getting easier for me to look at men too now in terms of the feminine qualities of so many actors out there. And generally, wouldn't you agree that most of the time when you know pretty 100% that one is the other sex, pretty much that also most of the time means that their mate is flipped as well.
Yeah. The markers to start paying attention to are the square jaw that men have compared to the angle to the ear jaw that women have. That's pretty obvious from the side lots of times.
Right.
And men have a flat chin. You can look at your own chin right now. It's a very male chin. And so women have kind of a very oval face. It looks like an egg upside down with a forehead that's bigger than the chin. But it's you turn an egg upside down, you got about the shape of a woman's face. And so you're looking for people that are not the right sex, no matter what you're talking about. You're talking about men. You're talking about a very oval face, very short arms, and they can be taking tons of testosterone so they can look like some of the people that are on Men's Health. I'm not sure whether there's any men on Men's Health. I don't think there's any ordinary people on People Magazine.
Right. How about GQ? GQ.
I don't think
GQ. Isn't everybody on GQ?
Yeah, I don't think GQ is anything but trannies. And I think Playboy is suspect.
Everything.
Victoria's Secrets are all flipped. So you're going, wait a minute. There's so many people involved in this. It has to be extremely hard to deal with training all these people because boys tend to act like boys and girls tend to act like girls. So you have to bring them up in such a way and in such a smart way that you actually give people a very alluring look as basically what I call Jessica Rabbits. And the men, if you pump them enough with testosterone, they can be off in Iraq shooting people. And all they do is have to give themselves a shot of testosterone once a week, and they look pretty good.
Right.
The Army is not above taking transgender people.
And as we, do you have a percentage?
There's a question.
Oh.
They're asking the same question.
There's a question about like the percentage of Hollywood and the percentage of politics. Like we mentioned Michael Robinson, Michelle Obama, but people haven't looked hard enough at Trump's wife. If you look at her carefully, she looks more manly to me than Michelle does. And if you look at all like Eleanor Roosevelt, Janet Reno, if you start, those are the obvious ones to me. But there's not so many obvious women, so-called women. But the percentage, it's hard to say what a percentage of Hollywood is transgender and what the percentage in politics and other things like in all of entertainment. Do you have a percentage? It's hard to say what a percentage is when you've seen all these videos, right?
Well, I don't think there's anybody out there that's ever been able to actually put a number on what we're talking about, but they end up in the highest levels of power and the best occupation positions, the CEOs of corporations, the actresses that everybody thinks are really special. One of the Transvestigation excellent producers that just stopped, her name was Lori, and hers was Truthful Spirit Blue Heron, and she did a ton of great work, and she kind of burned out on it, and we'll hope she gets better on that. But she was instrumental in waking people up on the hardest ones, and she would find the pictures that could demonstrate what she was talking about, and you start to do it without her help, and you're like not near as good at it. So you just are constantly going to people like that. Michelle XYZ, who I have heard she's going to be on the show somehow.
I'm hoping to get her on in a week or so. Yeah.
I'm hoping Michelle XYZ knows that I've paid attention to her for the whole time, and I respect her work too, and so does a million other people. So I'm not even rare. Mr. E was great. The Mag Bitter Truth is doing a great job, and he has about 3 lady spinoffs. Chinese Black, Nandy. They keep having to change their name because they keep losing channels, so they'll come back with their name slightly different on another channel. And I keep track of the commenters, and I have my favorite commenters. And if you're trying to keep track of transvestigation, you'll constantly be dealing with channels getting blown up.
Right.
And you have to maintain the conversation that the commenters have, because the commenters are trying to find the channels that are blown up, and they keep pointing you in the right direction.
Well, that's a tip off to me, Richard, is like, okay, it's the same similarity with the Flat Earth great channels that they take down. And people that think that we're crazy about this or talking about it, just ask yourself, if there's nothing to it, why do they target the best and take them down? Now, Michelle XYZ just told me they took 12,000 of her subscribers down. I don't know how they can do that, but that tells you, well, she was getting a lot of people watching. She was getting the truth out there. And remember, everybody, I know better than anybody, truth is considered hate speech. You tell the truth, you're considered hate speech. And it's the same thing going on with the vid 1984 that we're going through. Everybody that's explained the truth about it gets taken. Well, the fact checkers, as our favorite guy, Dollar Vigilante, says, the fact checkers. Yeah, the fact checkers are always trying to stop you. Well, at the end of the day, as we talked about this, like every 500 years they want to change history, right? They start over again. I think that's what's going on to me right now. Is they want everything that is the truth that has been known for the last. Hey, somebody's walking in your back there. Who is that guy?
I know. Edward's running around.
Hey, you better call your Washington, Iowa Police Department and tell them somebody just. No, but you know what I'm saying though is that's one that I think this whole thing is going on with the vid 1984 is they want to stop all the history, the truth of history out. They want to stop it down. They want to cut it all down. So with everybody who's never researched anything in their life will feel real good about themselves saying, look it's what it says right here. It says right here. That's what happened. Because they don't want the truth out there. That's what they're trying hard to do right now, in my mind.
I think it's so obvious now that we're being treated poorly, extremely badly. And the people that say that they're on our side in the government, they're not doing much about it, when really all they'd have to do is say, you can't do that anymore.
Right.
And so we're dealing with major corporations who are getting away with murder on free speech destruction. And so since you see what they continue to leave up on YouTube, I mean, every crazy thing is in there. And what you'd think that they'd have a problem with some of the stuff because it's just so ludicrous. But they don't have any problem with that. It's only if you make a ton of sense that you get ditched. And it's always illuminating what they're doing in a matrix type kind of thing, because the people are always going, hey, did you notice this? Did you notice that? Excuse me. And you're going, well, no, I didn't notice that. And so you start to get a bigger picture. Your perception of what's going on around here starts to change, and you try and talk about it with other people, and you have no luck in your private life.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants any of that going on. So you're going, well, they've done such a magnificent job of keeping this matrix hidden. Who are these people? And why is it so important? And what is the agenda they're up to? And then you start going, well, gee, the agenda that's going on right now has to do with shutting me up.
Exactly.
They don't want me talking. Well, why do they care so much? What am I saying even that would even bother them, right? And then you find out that the head of the tech companies are all transgender, and the head of the political system is transgender, and the power structure that's coming out of Central Europe. We don't have the power structure as far as the top of the crock. The top of the crock is in Europe, and that power structure has been based on the monarchy and the Vatican and the divine right to rule. And those people have been flipped pretty much forever. And so they just started an allegiance army of people who believe in the Baphomet. And the Baphomet is a god that has both male and female appearance.
That's wait. No, before you go
on, try
on,
and simulate their god in their own body.
You call it the Allegiance Army. You know what the name of this new football stadium is called? Allegiant. Here in
Vegas.
In Vegas, it's called Allegiant. Now I know why they call it that, right?
Well, that word is a big word for those people. And they're based on the code of silence. Right. None of their agenda can be actually in front of everybody. First off, it includes child abuse. It includes treating children in such a poor way they end up the wrong sex, and they actually act like the wrong sex.
And now they're putting masks on. They want people to wear putting masks on little kids as a child abuse too. So this whole the children are second class to all these people. They're like their sacrifices, and it's
they're
terrible.
Sacrificing their children to Baphomet.
Right.
And that pattern of sacrifice is part of Kabbalah, and we don't even know in the United States much about Kabbalah. But Kabbalah has been way before the Bible, and includes the whole. I don't know, somewhere around the Persian Empire, the Babylon, the Egyptian people. I mean, it goes so far back, we go before we have good written information. And we would like to see who this group is today. Well, right. that group today, we start thinking about, well, are they the Jews? I know that you can find a few Jews to worry about.
And the Jesuits?
I think you have to look even who is motivating the Jews that you want people to think about. I think they're being motivated by even another structure higher than they are.
The Club of Rome, would that be one of them?
There's such a thing as the Frankists in Frankfurt, where I was in 7 years in Frankfurt, and I know about the Frankists a little bit, the school of Frankfurt. Mm. And these people are Sabbatian Jews or some word like that, where they actually are so irritated that they didn't get their forecasted, prophesied Messiah yet, that they've developed this concept, this crazy concept that if you screw things up enough, the Messiah will come. I mean, I think we've been getting a little bit of that kind of thing for maybe a couple hundred years, right, where you're just so outrageous that you force God to come back to earth. I mean, man, those people, they're behaving extremely badly, and they have flipped everything to where you can't figure out where their motivator is and why they're being mean to their children and all that. And you're going, this is part of that crazy Frankfurt situation where this particular group of people want the Messiah to finally come back for them,
right? And
they're going to force his hand.
Well, listen, I'm gonna take a break now and play the song I wrote for my wife right now called "You Are the Woman." And again, I'm playing songs about real women here, and I'm a real man. So we're gonna play "You Are the Woman." I wrote this before Icy and I got married. You are the woman. You are the woman. You are the woman. You are the woman. You are the woman in my dreams at night.
You are the woman makes my wrong turns right, and you're the one who gives me inspiration, and the one who takes my desperation away. I want to hold you and not let go. Please be the one to help save my soul and take me up to the next level. Please don't turn into some kind of devil. No, 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 no. You want to fix this hole in my heart. You want let's take control of a brand new start. Looking for you. Don't be an illusion, for God's sakes be true. Tell it like it is and put yourself on the line. There's so many ways for our spirits to shine. Oh yeah. I want to hold you and not let go. Please be the one to help save my soul and take us up to the next level. Please don't turn into some kind of devil. I want to hold you and not let go. Please be the one to help save my soul and take us up to the next level. Please don't turn into some kind of devil. No. You are the woman. You are the woman. You are the fix this hole in my heart. Let's take control of a brand new start. Fix this hole in my heart. Let's save our souls and let's have a brand new start. Yes, you are the woman. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see. I hope you're watching tonight, and there's your song. Huh?
You had a compliment by Mercedes Strain.
Oh,
Mercedes Strain, thank you.
Mercedes Strain, thank you for the compliment. By the way, people don't know. I'm not looking at the chat. My producer is Sasha, so I don't know what people are telling me. And I've been called a lot of things over the years, as you may know, Richard. I can't repeat them here on the show. One of the things they all call me a nut job or crazy, and I always say I'm crazy for the truth and I'm a nut job for truth. So if that's what I am, so be it, right? But
You're one of the best well-read people. I mean, you just love books, and you pay attention in many different ways. But I think your real forte is you have a love of books that very few people can keep up with.
well, and I love to hand them out when they're really good, and when I know in my mind if something I feel is true, I write a song about it, and that's why I wrote that song for Icy. I said, "You are the woman. Don't go anywhere."
You're always trying to congeal down a topic that you could actually express in a song.
Yeah,
That ain't
yeah.
that easy.
I got a new one about the masks. About sticking it up there. You know what? It rhymes good, but I don't. Anyway,
What does Richard know about Revelations 3:9?
what do you know about Revelations 3:9? That's a question in the chat room. You know anything about that?
Well, maybe somebody could read some of it to me. I could decide whether I know some about it.
Is anybody going to read it? Someone going to write it down? We got some questions on the Bible, and Richard, now you're the Bible
Not one
expert.
of these Bible people that know things by the numbers and verse and all that.
Right.
Hate to disappoint anybody.
Well, we're getting.
Here, you can read it right here.
Somebody's going to read it here. Right. Where is it? Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which they say they are Jews and are not, but do die. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before me, my feet, and to know that I have loved them. Something about that. Well, I think it's been said, in Revelations that they'll be deceiving Jews, trying to
It
tell you what to
speaks
do.
of the synagogue of Satan.
Right. And we know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things hate speech. Michael Jones has said that he calls them JEWS. I don't know if they're all real, but he says they're the ones that created the whole thing about hate speech. And the thing about hate speech today, if you can't talk about the trans, can't talk about gays, there's a lot of people you can't talk about. It's called hate speech. Even if you mention something that's true about them, you can't say it. And that's more than ever about the JEWS because everything's construed. I gave a great example when on the show a few shows ago when Richard Belzer was talking about JFK, and he was on Coast to Coast, and I called. You remember that, Richard? You were listening to that when a caller called in and said, "What about Israel's involvement in the JFK assassination?" And silence. You don't bring up Israel on the mainstream media. You don't bring up the Jews on the mainstream media ever, and that's why I wrote my song, "Who Owns Us?" And what happened? All 12 of my CDs got censored. So
some of the best sources of information are the Jews themselves. They write about themselves, and
Right.
they have great authors. And so some of the most amazing revelation associated with the Jewish faith is written by rabbis.
Right.
And
Well, brother,
you can't just go, well, they're all trying to get me.
No, I don't say
There's
that.
many of them that are exposing the whole thing from an insider point of view.
Brother Nathaniel, he's one of the best. You've seen his work, and
The Wandering Who guy. That's his name of his book. He's a UK resident.
Well, the late great Bobby Fischer, the chess player, he was great at exposing a lot of lies.
We don't have to be guilty of beating up on a faith we don't hold. We just have to wait till those people talk about themselves, and then there's many great books explaining the whole thing.
And have you seen?
The Jews aren't one person.
Exactly.
A unifying principle.
Well, just like there's a great video that I watched of the rabbi talking about how Hitler changed usury to make it so you can't have any kind of loans with interest, and he stopped the interest loans in Germany, and that's what changed the economy. Turned right around. He stopped usury, and this was a rabbi talking about it, and he was just saying this is what happened, and again, this will probably be my first strike for I'm just trying to get information. It's not hate speech. I never have hate speech. Even when I write my songs about anything, it's not hate speech. It's just the truth, And that's one thing about my songs, though. I think that they don't like. They're very easy to understand lyrically and musically, and they sound like a good song. And they say, hey, you should sound like you hate when you're singing them, but I don't. So I got another question.
I think one of the things we're dealing with in the United States is our population has doubled, and we have a very heterogeneous group. We don't have a homogeneous group like one nationality. I mean, we're stacked in here with a whole bunch of them, and they're kind of competitive.
Right.
And we're dealing with, what are you doing all the time? It's like, why is that important for you?
Right. Well, my good friend in Australia, Samson, he's been keeping me busted on what's going on down there, and he wants to get out. And Melbourne, this is the thing. As bad as it is here, like in California, and what these governors are doing, in Melbourne, you can't go, I think, 3 miles away from your house or something like that, and they have drones going overhead looking to see if you have a mask on. And I mean, there's a lot of worse places in that regard. But what people who believe this, going back to the vid 1984, they mainly are the ones that just watch the mainstream news, which is 24/7 propaganda lies about it. And is the Smith-Mundt Act overturned, I think from the 40s or 50s, an act that made propaganda illegal, made it legal under the Obama administration, 2012. So when they opened the door for propaganda in 2012, basically said it's okay to do it, and that's what they've been doing nonstop ever since. And you can see it now. And a lot of people think Trump's the savior on this, but all this is going under his administration. What I try to tell people, if you think Trump is going to save us, why is this all happening under his presidency? That's my question. Why is it all happening under him? Because I think there's a reason they made him the president at this time. Wouldn't you agree with that?
He is a master at being what I call controlled opposition, in that the whole Q movement, I mean, that was 4 years of amazing stuff. And they're still waiting on Q to come through. And as you look at who is actually in the administration itself, you're going, well, he didn't change any of the swamp members there. Those are the swampiest people you got. And then his relationship with Netanyahu is
it's pretty damn good. And the Hillary was never arrested. He was going to do that.
No, we didn't get that person.
Yeah,
I would say that the foundations are not what they say they are. The corporations are working against their customers. The military wouldn't even know where to start at protecting us from an enemy within. And basically, everybody's running around trying to figure out what's going on, whether we're just having some kind of a viral outbreak or whether there's something else going on. And yes, there is something else going on. It's tyranny.
right.
And it's white tyranny, and it's been designed since World War II. The United Nations are in on it. They're heavily planned. They're unbelievably planned on Agenda 21 and 30 and
Right. And also, I would say the election is obviously a fraud. I mean, there's no way that Biden got more votes. Biden's one of the most disliked persons in political history, and now he got more votes than anybody. He never campaigned, this guy, and he's a pedophile to be this. I mean, all this.
everybody's underestimating how much planning it takes to be this far off the mark.
Right. Yeah.
It takes a lot of planning to make a pandemic this screwed up, and then turn right around and start taking away rights and talking about a financial reset at the same time. It's like anybody in their right mind would try and at least get a healthy population before you start telling them you're going to change anything more. But no, they got to do it all at once, and that's part of their plan. There's this shitstorm.
It's so like in New York City, you can't stand by the Christmas tree there, the big one, for more than 5 minutes. They got a law about that. You can't stand at the tree for more than 5. They're timing everybody. You got to keep moving because there's this pandemic. There's a virus coming around. Yeah, I mean it's so ridiculous. And what I was watching Jason Goodman today in New York City. They're walking around. They got a Trump rally going on. And everybody in New York City literally has a mask on. I can't believe that. If you're gonna protest this whole thing, everybody should be showing their face. Every single person out protesting. Why wear a mask still? That tells you they still somehow believe that this is real. It's not real. It never was real. And somebody said to me, this is like an Orwell book. Yeah, it is an Orwell book.
The mask concept has now been looked at so thoroughly, and anybody with any amount of prestige on evaluating medical devices has gone on the record as the mask is ridiculous, and even the mask makers don't even tell you, and especially when they go make something out of an old sock and stick it on their face, that's just not going to be a medical technique. And the mask got so much study that I actually found out that I didn't have to be wearing a mask in surgery either, because the mask has more complicating surgical problems than if you didn't have one on it by about just a few percent. But that's much more comfortable my whole life.
That's what Henry and I were talking about. It's all about it comes down to the oxygen. If you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain, Whatever you're doing, you're just not doing it 100%. And that's what they found in surgeries where doctors that didn't have the mask on, they had less infections. And it's just real simple. They were thinking better than the surgeons with the mask on. It comes down to that, your thinking process. So then you have little kids in schools. All these kids are wearing a mask in school. That's really good idea. They're going to really be thinking right. And how many psychological problems are going to be with these kids with masks? Here in Vegas, my sister told me that she found last year at this time there was only one suicide in young kids and stuff. This year there's been 11. I mean, that's what, look at unemployment up, homelessness up, bankruptcies up, and suicides up. I mean, nice job. And the people at the top of this food chain, the billionaires have made it in this country have made $1 trillion. They're up $1 trillion. Isn't that great? Do we want to applaud them all?
They couldn't be up so much unless they had foreknowledge, just like on 9/11.
Exactly.
People that had foreknowledge, they invested in such a way. I mean, they're extremely good investors, and they know how to short stock. Where if some situation is going to take a hit, they just short the stock.
Well,
and they're sitting pretty.
9/11, the put options on United and American Airlines. Remember that. Then in 2008, remember the slogan, the banks are too big to fail, but the little guys can lose their homes. I mean, this is how it's always been. Is how it always is.
Always too big to fail.
Yeah. The middle class goes bye-bye. The poor and homeless goes up. And the very, very wealthy, like I said, the billionaires in this country they've made $1 trillion this year since March. Now, does anybody really want to believe that this is about a virus that can cause all the and then you look at the number. The other thing, you look at the numbers: 99.999% survival rate of 0 to 19, 20. I posted all these the age groups that had such a little, and only over 70 is 99.4%. But every percentage is ridiculous. There's no reason to shut down the world for this. Now, you had an incident where a masked man said to you, a few days ago, what did he say to you again?
I was buying cheese and I had my back to the aisle, and someone said something, and I thought I understood him, but I turned around and I said, "What did you say?" And he said, "It's because of you that 2 of my friends died." And I went, "Don't put that on me, dude," because and he like ran off into the crowd. Now the whole crowd at the Hy-Vee grocery store.
He ran into the crowd.
Was a bunch of masked people, so I mean, I couldn't even find him in the crowd. Right?
And that's the other thing about the masked people, boy. I mean, think about going in a bank with a mask, going everywhere with a mask, and that's the whole idea. In the past, having a mask meant you're a criminal. Now it's not. Now you're the good guy, and showing your face is the criminal. But
right.
I've had people look at me that way. I had a woman. I told her her little kid, like 5 or so, had a mask on, and I said, "That's child abuse," and she told me, "Fuck off, buddy."
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insanity, man. But it is child abuse. Nobody should have their kids wear a mask ever.
Even in the UK, the age suggested for a mask to start was 11, I think.
Yeah, well,
so, I don't think that 11-year-olds needed it, just like I don't think anybody needs it, but at least and the UK is pretty fanatical.
Oh yeah, they're really.
The United States wants to do them one step better, I guess. And so I see toddlers with a mask on.
I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah, boy.
There's no amount of discussion. There's no amount of reading documentation. Nothing's going to change that if they see it on the TV.
The television.
That's gospel, man.
Television. Yeah, that's what does it. It's unbelievable.
We're being ruled by the television, really.
Well, yeah, but what I always say too is that even if that's all you're getting your news from, okay, just say hypothetically you and I only got our news from the TV. Wouldn't at some point in time before you're going to sleep, that you say, wait a minute, it was supposed to be only 2 weeks long, and then on the beach, you could run on the beach, but you couldn't sit on the beach. They closed down the parks, and doesn't it dawn on these people that, wait a minute, closing down the parks, how am I going to get sick if I'm in a park? How am I going to get sick if I'm sitting on the beach, if I'm breathing oxygen and getting vitamin D sun? See, this is the thing that behooves me. How do you just, even watching the news, if that's the only place you're getting it, how do you still buy it after all this time? They changed, and all the corporations are thriving, but the little guys are all losing. Doesn't that dawn on you?
Well, as storefronts close up here in Washington, Iowa, there's no way to even tell it happens. You walk past the store and it's closed. That's all you get. You don't get a blurb on the TV saying how wonderful this business was and how sad we're seeing them go. It's an invisible destruction, right? Yeah. Where if we're supposed to worry about whether the corporations or Walmart's doing okay or whatever, they have the kind of money that you can actually have them in your mind. But the people that are day in, day out, mom and pop, if they go belly up, it is an invisible loss.
Not to them.
Not to them.
Yeah,
no.
and that's the thing at the beginning. Again, going back to watching the news, at the very beginning of this, they said you have to close down if you're non-essential. Now, I ask everybody this every day. That I say, do you think that you are non-essential? In other words, is what they're saying. Your life is non-essential. This is their livelihood, their business. But they're just telling you, no, you're sorry, buddy. You're non-essential. Luckily, as a piano tuner, I'm a fake quarantine-proof business. As you know, I'm working all the time. And now I think with that joyful, let's name, my next song is called With Megan They'll Be Beggin'. In the 80s, my girlfriend in the late 80s had a sister that gave birth to a Megan, and I just bursted out with Megan They'll Be Beggin' for whatever reason, and about 5 years later, I wrote this song. The song is a smoky bar song. It makes you feel like you're in a smoky bar. It's got a great sax by Bobby Soul. Here's With Megan They'll Be Beggin'.
Not noticing anyone else, every head turned, following her every move. I sat on my bar stool, feeling no pain, watching this beautiful woman entertain. All I can tell you was, God, she was smooth. I've always been a very proud man, but that's before I saw Megan. There are no rules with this woman, but that's how it is with Megan. With Megan, they'll be begging for just a chance to hold her close for one slow dance. She won't let them down as she takes them once around. That's Megan. I got off my bar stool, poised and primed. I floated to the dance floor in just the nick of time. Holding her close, I made the most of Megan. I've always been a very proud man, but that's before I saw Megan.
That's the great Bobby Soul on sax. Bobby Soul was like a 300-pound Apache Indian that came into the studio. He'd take one breath, and he never, ever, all the songs he played out with me, he never had to do it more than once. He just started playing. I never saw him take a breath. He just start playing the sax, and I go, "Hey, Bobby, don't you breathe?" He says, "I just need one breath," and he plays the whole thing perfect, man. And that's what I call a smoky bar song. Didn't you feel like you were in a smoky bar when you heard that?
I haven't been in a smoky bar for a while.
Yeah. Well, there. Don't you remember the past when you could go into a smoky bar and be within 6 feet of people and actually have a drink and relax and enjoy people's company, and this is what another thing I said. This is the quarantine of the healthy by the very, very wealthy. That's what I said from day one. That's all this is. They want, and in the old days, if you quarantine the sick people, no, now it's the health people, and they put us all in prison. We're all in prison on this. Somehow, some way, we're now prisoners of the wealthy, the very wealthy. They're making trillions. And let's applaud. Hey, let's give him hey, great job, guys. Nice job. Suicide, all this stuff is up. And I try to tell people to get mad as hell. Like the woman last week that we played that was so mad about her son, and she had every right to be, who was in gym class with a mask on, and he fainted. Everyone should be as mad as that woman. That woman was right on the money. Was it you pulling that up?
Anybody who is watching.
Oh, here it is.
An attorney.
Remember? Here it is.
Who I don't know. Who's ready to fucking take down the government? That's where I'm at.
That's where I'm at.
My son just passed out in school for wearing a fucking mask. That's where I'm at. In PE, he passed the fuck out because he couldn't breathe. I'm done. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I don't give a shit anymore if anybody wants to claim that these masks are fucking good. People die every day from diseases. Every day, heart attack, everything else. A child who passes out during PE because he can't breathe, because he's in a fucking mask, gets this mama bear fucking pissed.
Mama bear, man.
I need an attorney because I'm ready to fucking sue. So if you are a lawyer and you have more knowledge than me, this is no longer okay. A innocent child just passed out because they wore a fucking mask in PE.
She says it. That's how I am. I mean, this is ridiculous. We can't let this go on. And that's the other thing I keep saying. The only way this ends is the people. We have to end it. They're not going to end it on the top of the food chain. They want to keep this going as long as they can. And if people, I had a guy yesterday, so, well, I'll get the vaccine as long as it'll end it. Oh, really? Really? You're going to trust them? Well, with all these lies leading up to the vaccine, you're going to trust them to go stick something in you? And what is the difference between rape and a mandatory vaccine? Answer, not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. We're all going to be raped with this mandatory vaccine. And if people aren't as mad as that woman right now, by now, I mean, and then I gotta try to get Tony Roman, the guy who owns the restaurant in L.A., who never shut down. The thing about this, Richard, this in the middle of L.A., one of the worst places to be with this Governor Gruesome Newsom, this guy has not closed a minute. He has not let any masked person into his restaurant. He's thriving, and he's actually told Gruesome to go ahead and sue him, but Gruesome doesn't, because Gruesome knows he's not on the right side of the law. And the final thing that Tony Roman said with the great Del Bigtree in an interview, it's the healthiest his workers have been all year. Okay, folks? They haven't done a thing. And that's how it should be. I mean, look at here in Vegas. My joke with Vegas is they should have what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. And my new sign is going to say, what happens in Vegas is not a damn thing. You might as well not even come to Vegas. You know, it's no fun. You drive up and down the strip and you see everybody walking with a mask on. I want to throw up. Anyway, that's my rant for today. That woman makes me want to rant all the time.
I'm amazed you can keep enough cars on the freeway that you even feel like a city.
Yeah, well, it's gotten busier now. I mean, the drive. The only good thing about the shutdown for me is when I go to a school zone and there's no 15 mile an hour. I like that about the shutdowns. But no kids.
I have a new. Well, I sent you the link. I don't know whether you saw it. It's a channel called SSS Truth, and it was giving you a mental exercise on the heliocentric model.
No, I haven't seen that.
And did you see that link? I'll describe it. So the Earth is spinning once a day,
right,
and going in an orbit once a year. And so now, wherever you are, you look up, and the sun's right above you at lunchtime, and then the Earth spins around, and in the middle of the night, it's on the other side. So then as you do the orbit, there's 180 degree of the orbit. You're on the other side of the Earth at midnight. And so things are backwards. The sun will actually be shining in the middle of the night on the 180 degree orbit change.
Mm-hmm.
You see what they did?
Right.
Can you imagine that you, in order to have the heliocentric model correct, you'd have to have an incremental change every day at lunchtime as to where the sun was, until when you're on the other side of the orbit, it's actually in the middle of the night.
Well, the other thing is 66.6 degrees is the slant of the Earth. You know, all the numbers are all satanic numbers as well.
She asked a question.
Was it?
Lisa.
Oh, yeah, and Lisa's here. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Is the sun real, too? That's the other thing that I wonder about. You know, there's been talk that there's been many suns goes out, then another one is created, and the moonlight. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me the moon is a light and the sun is a light, and they're the same size and the similar distance. And if you with eclipses on the flat Earth model, it's so much easier to understand than the heliocentric model, which I call it the heliocentric model. It's been a trick on us all our lives. But yeah, you know, it doesn't make any sense, and all the constellations remain the same, and we're going fast. We're going 66,600 miles an hour on the sun. Sun's going 500,000 miles an hour, and that's the other question: how do they determine these speeds? By the way.
There's a few mental exercises, like when you suck all the air out of a can, the can implodes. When you suck all the air out of a tanker truck, the tank implodes. In other words, a vacuum is an extremely strong phenomenon.
Right, and there's supposed to be the atmosphere above us, and there's nothing between our atmosphere and the vacuum.
We're supposed to be in a vacuum.
Right.
And how do we maintain our atmosphere if this extremely strong force is right off the atmosphere? How come it doesn't suck it out there? And it would suck out the water too. It would suck out everything.
Well, that's and we've had some great flat Earth people on here. You know, Shelley Lewis, David Weiss, and Ed Hendry. And Ed Hendry not only started about looking at it at the same time I did, then he wrote a book with over 1,000 pages in it. So that's what I call work. And that's.
Did you get your copy of that?
No, he's actually mailing me some more books. So I handed out over 50 of those. Breaking the Spell by Nicholas Collerstrom on the Hula Hooks. I handed out 70 of those. The great Victor Thorne handed out his the Hula Hoax Exposed. And again, I always bring up the fact that he's another guy at August 1st, 2016, supposedly shot himself twice. Like Gary Webb shot himself twice in the head when he exposed the CIA bringing in all the drugs. It's amazing to me how many great truth people want to end their lives. It's called suicide. It is what they are. And again, how many people got to be in on this? I mean, to me, look at the lies. The CIA pretty much was all involved with JFK, and the FBI was in charge of the cover-up, I believe. But I think they're all in charge of the cover-up at the end of the day. When you look at all the lies that they continue to spew, that's my favorite word. They spew these lies. they spew them on us like it's raining on us, right? There's so many. And now we do. So in Washington, Iowa, where you are, by the way, that's where if anybody's driving through the country, if you can get from one state to another, if you're going through Washington, Iowa, look up Dr. Richard Holden, and I'm sure he'd want to talk to you. But you guys have gotten worse then since it started, right? Is your governor as bad as the Sisolak guy here in Nevada?
Well, I think they're just getting wound up again. This mandatory mask thing is getting kind of hard to deal with, and
I would say.
So I try and just stay out of the Walmart and the businesses, and I really don't have a very big impetus to argue people. So I try and stay where they don't have a big opinion about me.
Right. Like you're a serial killer and that stuff.
Yeah, I try not to get accused of being a killer very often every day.
Well, me too. You know, I had a Karen yelling at me behind me. I had a Karen I had a 1-star review for piano tuning, and the woman I tuned for a few days ago actually called me because of her 1-star review, because she's on board with us as this is a hoax. And she said, the Karen said, and John Niems thinks the COVID is a hoax. And she saw that review and she called me right away because the other piano tuner that was coming to her house said, I expect you to wear a mask when I get to the house. In her own house, she expected her to wear a mask. Oh. So see, the 1-star reviews are actually helping me now, Because I'm a nut job, I know. And a lot of people say, well, how do you know? A lot of people think I jump on things all the time, like this guy over here. I do research, and I have my own mind to make up my own decisions on things, unbeknownst to my producer here. Anyway, he's one of my best friends of all time, though. He likes.
I thought Richard was.
Well, he is. Richard is one of my best friends. But today, I want to change the thing here. I'm laughing a lot today, but I want to play my song. The only way it's on my 12 CD. It's a song I wrote for my best friend in college by the name of Lenny. He was my drummer friend, and he died. He died in 1974 on this day, 2006. And the only reason I want to play it here is because it's on my 12 CD. The only way you can get it is to download my album. It used to be a single. Again, anybody listen to my music, you can go to my website, johnniems.com. You can download a lot of things. But this is a song I wrote for Lenny. He called me the night before, and you listen to the words. It's just exactly how it went down, and I still miss Lenny Rhoda is his last name. He was a great drummer, great friend. I still miss him, and I want to play Lenny for him right now, okay?
Lenny, I miss you. I wish you were still here. Lenny, why did you not wait before it was clear? Though I know you paid the ultimate price, it seems as though you should have taken my advice. our last conversation, you told me to leave without hesitation. And I was on my way to see your new band. You were on your way to the eternal land. Still seems like seconds since I hung up the phone when she told me you were gone. I felt so all alone, so all alone. On my way to see your new band. You were on your way to the eternal land. Lenny, goodbye, my friend. I still say it after all these years. Lenny, my eyes are still filled with so many tears.
And that's exactly how it went. Lenny called me the night before. I was on my way to see his new band, and they were taking down all the instruments. And every time at December 6th, I get very emotional all to this day. And think about it, when I got out of college, then I started learning how to be a piano tuner. But Lenny, had he lived, died in a car accident. And if he had lived, he would have been on every one of my songs to this day. He had the same birthday as my grandfather did, May 24th. He was born on May 24th, 1950. And so 24 years, not a long time. And at the end of the day, all of us don't have a lot of time. And it's no matter how long you live. My dad made it to 98 and a half. And, I think, really, Richard, I think the top 1% like to see us all gone. They want to get us down to 500 million somehow. And the vaccines could be one of the ways to do it. And, of course, the useful idiots out there, when my brother is one of the biggest, he's got 60,000 followers on Facebook, and I probably will never talk to him again, no offense to my brother, but as long as he's going to keep saying that Dr. Fauci's a national treasure, how can I talk to a guy like that, huh? Dr. Fauci's a national treasure. You can't talk to a guy like that. But Richard, we've known each other a year now, and I must say, you are one of my top friends of all time. I hope you know that, buddy.
We seem to be getting along pretty good.
We're both serial killers, according to...
Yeah.
But
the same hole in the wall that we have the gang, I guess. I don't know why.
And I see you have a piano in the background there, so I told you I'll come out and tune it, and I'll just charge you travel time is all.
Yeah.
How far is Vegas to Washington, Iowa, by the way?
Must be about 1,500 miles.
Yeah, that's no big deal for me. I'll get in the car. I'll bring Dexter so he can meet your dog, Jack.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have anything else in closing to bring it down? And I'm going to play your favorite song, "Man's a Woman, Woman's a Man," at the end of the show. But
Yeah.
You have anything else you want to add today other than everybody needs to wake up, right?
It's hard to summarize so many agendas, but there is an overall nefarious group that are the people that run the money. You keep thinking that they can't be that big a deal because you don't see them while they're hiding, and they're running the money, and they have all the money. They don't need any of yours. They keep taking yours, but they don't need it. And this group, you need to really start looking at carefully, because they have all these allegiance soldiers basically in lockstep, and even Rockefeller in 2010 or something.
Yeah, they had
lockstep document.
And it's all what's going on, just like Event 201. It's all what's going on. I mean,
So
this is
you
all
have
predictive
you
programming.
have to look up from the Cheerio bowl in the morning and go, wait a minute, something's going on. There's somebody sneaking up on the house.
I think Cheerios has some bad shit in it too, as I recall. Well, anyway, we got to wrap it up here for everybody. But I'm gonna play this song. Actually, I wrote this before I knew you. But when I met you, I bet you didn't know someone would have a song called "Man's a Woman, Woman's a Man," right?
That was unusual.
So I want to thank everybody for coming. Press the like button, the subscribe button. I hope they don't take my subscribers. I don't have 12,000 like Michelle XYZ does. We're going to try to get her to come on the show maybe next week or sometime soon. I want to have David Weiss back. I want to have Shelley Lewis back. I want to have Dave Gahary back, all my great guests. Mike Williams been on twice already. And I want to have Dr. Richard Holden back, a veterinarian who loves animals like I do. And Richard, you have to come back again, okay?
Hey, you have to get Jim Fetzer on this show.
Okay, yeah, I was on his show. I hope.
Don't forget.
Okay, we're gonna go end with "Man's a Woman, Woman's a Man." Here it is for Richard here.
Something strange has been going on right beneath our noses. It's another game they've been playing on us. We all need to expose this. Men dress like women and women dress like men. It's the transgender train. They roll out again and again. Look at all the photos of famous people you'll see. They're mocking the masses, and they do it quietly. The two-finger sign is for the Baphomet. Female on the top, the male below. Don't you see it yet? The man's a woman, the woman's a man. Hollywood's directed by the devil's hand. The man's a woman, the woman's a man. We've been played too long. Do you understand? Once you know Victoria's Secret, you're going to be surprised. 'Cause they've been doing this a long, long time right before our eyes. Men dress like women and women dress like men. It's the transgender train. They roll out again and again. All the famous people, they are deceivers, you see. And those that tell the truth are dealt with accordingly. The two-finger sign is for the Baphomet. Female on the top, the male below. Don't you see it yet? The man's a woman, the woman's a man. Hollywood's directed by the devil's hand. The man's a woman, the woman's a man. We've been played too long. Do you understand? A man's a woman.
Now that isn't right, is it?
The woman's a man.
Right in plain sight.
Hollywood's directed by the devil's hand. The man's a woman. The woman's a man.
They're all deceivers.
We've been played too long. Do you understand? Do you understand now?
Do you understand now? I hope everybody's going to start taking a closer look at all the famous people out there. Thanks for coming to the show. And thanks to Dr. Richard Holden in Washington, Iowa, one of my favorite places in the world. Yes, sirree, Bob. That's another wrap. Hey, Rich.